Let's see where people show up. I would see them here. Okay. I want to make sure I'm able to see the button that tells me that there are people coming. Not that I expect anybody, but it's okay. Okay. Let's start with what?
I was coughing.
Let's start where we ended off last week. We were doing the introduction where he was talking about all the benefits of being a mammon in Hashem and trusting Hashem to take care of everything. I want to just quickly go over what he had in his introduction about the 10 advantages that a mammon, that somebody who is trusting in Hashem, has over somebody who trusts in science or in, he says, alchemy, but I forget who came up with the scientist, who said the scientist or the chemist. Who said chemist? Was that you, Kier? Last week, who said the chemist? I like that analogy. So let's say the 10 advantages that somebody who has trust in Hashem has over somebody who relies in, let's say, science. What's the difference? The alchemist or science is the same thing. As we said, if you no longer, if you rely on anything other than Hashem, we said, Hashem takes away his hashgacha pratis, his watching over you, his caring over you, his, hold on, there we go. What do you guys see on the screen? Do you see the whatchamacallit, the words on the screen?
Yes, I can.
My face. You see my face still. Okay. So I'll have to do screen sharing. Oh, it says I am screen sharing.
Yeah, and the one who trusts in God will have the following 10 advantages over the alchemist.
There you go. Okay. Number one. Just quickly to run through the 10 that he said last time. The alchemist, the scientist, requires special materials to perform his operations, without which he can't do. The one who trusts in Hashem, his sustenance is assured because Hashem is everywhere. And he brings psukim for each of these things to quote. It's not a matter of out of his head. And he gives examples. The story we had with Eliyahu and the ravens who were feeding him, or the widows and the cakes and water that were multiplying, or the story of Avadia with the prophets, where he said he hit 100 of them, etc. The second advantage, one is the first one needs tools. He needs things from the outside. Number two, he has to do it certain actions and follow certain procedures. And some of those procedures could be dangerous and a lot of effort. The one who has trust in Hashem is secure. He doesn't, whatever comes, he will accept. And he will accept. Now, we obviously all have to work to this point, but when you have total trust in Hashem, you sit back because you are confident that no matter what you're seeing right now, Hashem will be helping you. So one, you don't need tools. Two, you don't need procedures. You don't need long, complicated, or maybe even dangerous procedures. Three, the scientist doesn't trust anybody with the secret, but the one who trusts in Hashem doesn't mind telling everybody. What can anybody do to him? As the pasuk said, lo ira, should not be afraid. Mayatza Adamli. What can a person do to me if I trust in Hashem? The fourth, he either has to prepare a large quantity of gold or keep it, whatever. If he prepares a large quantity of gold, all his days he will fear for his life that he should save it or keep it or he shouldn't be taken away. If he doesn't have it, then he's not going to do it, and when he needs it, and then he's going to have to worry about it. But the one who trusts in Hashem, you can have strong peace of mind that Hashem will provide for you. In the same way as he provided for you in the mother's womb, or a chick inside an egg, which has no opening for anything to come in, and birds in the air, and all of this stuff, Hashem takes care of all of them. You should be able to have confidence that Hashem will take care of you without big preparations or storage or inventory or backup ammunition or anything like that. Fifth, the scientist is under anxiety and fear of everyone because of his work. He doesn't know who's going to come after him. Or, obviously, this is more than in the scientific method. But he's saying that the person who trusts in Hashem will be revered by everybody. He has nobody to be afraid of. Sixth, the scientist is not immune from sickness and disease himself. He still has to worry about it. The one who trusts in Hashem knows there's always a source of strength. There is no such thing as weakness over there. Seventh, it's possible that the scientist will not be able to buy foods with his gold. So we're talking about where the person who's, if you depend on him, the person who you're depending on is not sure that he's going to be able to eat. Because even with all his money, if something happens and you have a hunger or whatever it is, that there's no food available, he has no guarantee that with all his money, he will be able to buy food. The one who trusts in Hashem, his sustenance can never be blocked. 8, the scientist, the alchemist, does not linger in one place too long because he doesn't want his secret to be discovered. So he's not always available to you. But the one who is Eftach B'Hashem has no worries and doesn't have to worry about that. 9th, the scientist is going to die. With all his power, if you trust in him, he can't save himself even from the ultimate end. One who trusts in Hashem, his trust and his reward will help him in this world and will help him in the next world. And 10th, if the alchemist's work is discovered, it'll become a cause of his death because his work runs contrary to the natural order. The director of the world will allow somebody to kill him when he fails to hide his secret. But the one who trusts in Hashem will always be safe. So now he's talking about those who are all in the material world, trusting in science, trusting in alchemy, trusting in any of the physical sciences besides just trusting Hashem. Trusting Hashem in the religious matters. If he has wealth, he'll be quick to fulfill his monetary obligations and to men with a willing and generous spirit. Talk about the attitude of a person who has bitachon and trusts in Hashem. He's not afraid to use his wealth because it was given to him to use. If he doesn't have it, he'll consider that to be a favor from Hashem, that you're exempt from all the obligations and craziness that people with money have, the problems, the worries, and things like that. One who trusts in Hashem will receive the benefits of money. He'll get his material needs, but without the mental distraction and constant worry of the wealthy, because he has bitachon in Hashem, and it's a simple thing to rely on. One who trusts in Hashem will not diminish his trust on account of having much wealth, because he doesn't rely on the money. He looks at it as something that was given to him by Hashem so that he could use it in specific ways. And he has it for a certain amount of time and a certain amount. If he stays wealthy a long time, he's not going to become arrogant. He's not going to remind the poor person of his charity gifts, because he himself knows he gets his from the same source, and he's grateful for what he's gotten to be able to give. If his money is lost, he's not going to worry, because he thanks Hashem for taking it back the same way he thanked Hashem for giving it to him. Hasameach b'chalko, he will be happy with his portion, and he's not going to seek to damage others in order to get money. He will not covet other people's wealth. A righteous man eats to sate his appetite, l'seiva nafsho, but the stomach of the wicked shall feel want. This, I'm trying to remember exactly which Rebbe it was, but he was saying, somebody comes over and says, you know, the rabbi and me, we're both the same. We both make a bracha before we eat the apple. Why is he so much better than me? And the other guy answers, you are making a bracha to be able to eat the apple. He is eating the apple so that he can make a bracha. Just an interesting distinction. Benefits of trust in Hashem, of having bitachon in Hashem, in worldly matters. One, he says, menuchas alev min hadagos ha'olomios, peace of mind from the worries, peace from the frenzy and drive to pursue the toevos hagufios, the lusts of the world, feeling calm, sedate, and at peace with the world. And again, he goes back to Bitchu Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach B'Hashem V'Hoya Hashem Miftacho. Among them, peace of mind from the needs to travel. He doesn't have to travel to get what he wants. Hashem is everywhere he wants him. It says a novice ascetic who traveled a distant land. He met one of the idolaters and says, how completely blind and ignorant you are to worship idols. The idolater asked him, and what do you worship? The ascetic answered, I worship the Creator, the all-powerful, the sustainer. The idolater countered, your actions contradict your words. The ascetic asked, how so? The idolater said, if what you say is true, he would have provided a livelihood for you in your own city, just like he provided for you here. It would not have been necessary for you to trouble yourself to travel so far. The ascetic went back. Another benefit, peace of mind and body, do to yourself grueling jobs and wearying occupations, avoiding work of kings, mingling in their culture, and dealing with their corrupt servants. Now they only say that about observant Jews who try to work in Washington, D.C. Habateach B'Hashem, one who trusts in Hashem, basically picks amongst the different occupations, one which is easy on his body, allows him to earn a good reputation, does not consume his mind, and is best suited for fulfilling his Torah obligations, and the principles of his faith, because the choice of occupation is not going to increase or decrease the income he will earn. Another benefit, minimal aggravation in one's business dealings. If the merchandise does not sell, or if he's not able to collect what is owed to him, or if he's struck sick, he knows that Hashem is in charge of his life and doing this to him for a reason. Whatever joy happens to him, he enjoys, and even if it's something that is difficult and against his nature, you get to the point where you believe that Hashem only does good, and therefore would only do good for him, and therefore gives him a sense of mental well-being that he would not otherwise have. Now he clarifies, now he says 7 topics on the matter of trust. What is trust? The criteria for trusting someone, and that's where we're going to begin now. The prerequisites in trusting in Hashem, when it applies and when it doesn't. The difference between one who trusts in Hashem and earning a livelihood and one who does not. The obligation to refute those who promote delaying the service of God until reaching sufficient material prosperity. Yeah, I'll keep Shabbos when I'm comfortable that I have enough money that I don't have to worry about the loss of my income. Things that damage one's bitachon, and a complete summary. So that's where we're going to go. Did you read ahead at all in terms of chapter 1? You're muted. You are muted. I can't hear a word. I can't hear a word.
Yeah, hi. Yeah,
Hi.
I did, but chapter 2 is very long.
Oh,
So
yes.
I didn't get through it all.
Okay, but I'm saying, but chapter 1.
No, sorry, chapter 2, excuse me. Chapter 2 is very long.
Yes, but we're on chapter 1 still.
Yeah, I know. I
Just
saying
past
that's
the
what
introduction to chapter 1. So let's review chapter 1 together. Yehuda, you with us? Now we hung up all together. All right. That's what happens. You can't poke and ask somebody if they're really there. See, but they all come back. Do. I lost Yehuda too. Wow. I have a good connection. It cannot be me, because it should not be me. Okay, and I lost Yehuda. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning again.
On my computer now.
Okay, excellent. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
So we are just starting chapter 1, where he gets into what is trust. And he starts with trust is peace of mind of the one who trusts, the one who relies in his heart that the one he trusts will do what is good for him, has trusted with him into what fields the person is able to do and what will further his good. But the main factor which leads one to trust in the one that is trusted, okay, for the mammon, for the person who believes, the one who has bitachon, is that you have to be confident that the one you're trusting will keep his word and do what he pledged. That he's going to do. And if we get into what I said something, you have to be willing and able. They're the only 2 tests. If you're meeting with somebody and need somebody to do something for you, there's only two things you need to check. One is willing, and the other is able. Are they able to do what you want them to do? Are they willing to do what you want them to do? If they are both willing, that gives you four possibilities. Willing and able, unwilling and able, unable and willing, and unwilling and unable. And each one, the way I learned this was on Wall Street, takes a different management style. The one who is willing and able, if you get somebody that's both willing and able, what's your management style? Delegate, let them do it. Give them the job to do, keep an eye on them, but otherwise don't interfere. Don't stand there and nudge the guy to death because he's willing and he's able. The person who's unwilling and unable requires a management style of being on top of him every minute and only giving him stupid little jobs because he has no ability, he's not able to do a better job, and he's unwilling. He's going to look for every which way to get out of it. So there you have to be on top of him all the time. Give him 1,000 envelopes and cards. Here, take the card, put it in the envelope like this, and set it down over here. And that's all you have to do. And you got to sit there and watch him the whole time because he's going to make mistakes and because he's going to try to get out of it. And you have to figure he's a civil servant, so you can't fire him. Obviously, the best thing is you wouldn't want to have him all together. But if you have to deal with him, this is the type of management style that would work with him. If you just delegated to him and walked away, you would have a disaster. If you had somebody who was willing and able, and you stood on top of them, watching everything they do, criticizing, pointing, looking, they're going to leave. Because they don't need that kind of management style. And then you have unwilling and able, and unable and willing. And each of those require a different one. The one who is unable but willing has the right spirit. They want to do it. They just don't have the skills. So the best management style for them is teaching. You teach them what they need to do and work with them as they're learning it. The one who is able but unwilling, the management style is not so much teaching a skill as it is motivational. The guy has the skill. You just have to motivate him to make him willing to do it. So you see, you have four different possible employees or interactions where someone's doing something for you, and four different ways of dealing with it. When you're dealing with something that you're trusting somebody, the question becomes, what are you trusting them with? Is it something major or is it something minor? He's talking about where you are depending and you're going to be trusting somebody on something major. So what is the most important thing? He's forcing us to consider what are the important things we look for and we expect when we trust somebody to do something for us, or we give ourselves over to their care. You can use the analogy of a doctor if you want. You can use the analogy of an accountant if you want. You can use the analogy of the robber on the street who's pointing a gun at you if you want. It depends on what you are asking the other to do for you and what you need them for. And you can talk with a generic other because We don't know who we're talking about, but he's saying if you need to trust and you want to trust somebody, and what leads you to trust somebody, and you can't have trust without them, is that you have to be confident that the one you trust will do what they pledge to do. Not only that, he goes extra, that he will also think to do good for you, even on what he did not pledge to do. You're trusting that he's going to do the good that he said he would do for you. And within that area, if he becomes aware of something that you don't know, he will still offer to do good because of the generosity and kindness of himself. And as he says, he's going to explain it. That's his first chapter. The key to trust is that you believe and that you trust that they will do, that they will keep their word, that they're not, you're trusting them to do it, they say they're going to do it, and then they abandon you. Or as he gets later, we'll explain it later as he goes through the 7 factors now. But now he goes through the 7 factors, all of them, which make it possible for one to trust in another. And here he is talking about human beings. So these are the 7 factors. 1, compassion, pity, and love. You have to believe that the other person has compassion or pity or whatever it is at him, that you can then trust him because you know he will care for you, because he feels for you. The first thing you need to know is that the other person, I wouldn't even say person, the other in whom you are relying cares for you, whether it's out of compassion or love or pity, makes no difference. You have trust that that they are driven by something where they will try to help you. 2, you also know, and you have trust, that the other is not going to forget or be lazy in taking care of your needs. You can be trusting that they care for you, that they want to help you. But what happens if they have heavy ADHD and they get distracted all the time? Or if they're busy and they got a million other things to take care of? You have to have the confidence, in order to trust somebody, you not only have to trust that they want to take care of you, but that they are not going to forget or be too lazy or busy to take care of you. That's 2. So you need to have them both. 1 is compassion, and 2, full attendance to your matters. They're going to put your needs are their job 1. They want to help you, and they're not going to forget to help you. They're not busy with other things. Then he goes, the 3rd thing is, the one you are trusting is strong and able to do what you want them to do. If you want them to do something and they don't have the physical strength or the abilities or the resources or whatever you want to use in place of the word strong, the one you are relying on, the one you are trusting to do what you need them to do, you have to trust that they have the strength to do what you want them to do, the ability to do what you want them to do. So those are three. 1, compassionate, 2, always on, and 3, able, physically able to do what you need them to do. 4, that the one that you trust know what is good for you. It's nice, you say, well, I just need him to do what I want him to do. Okay, but that's only one level of trust. But in the more serious areas, if you are trusting in somebody, let's use an extreme example, doctor in a hospital. You not only want the doctor to want to take care of you, to pay attention to you as much as he can, making the rounds, have the ability to help you, but also to have an eye to see what else you need. I was in the hospital, what was it for, pneumonia or something, 4 or 5 years ago. And my wife was basically living with me. The two of us were in the room. So one morning, she asks the nurse, what is this thing you're writing? And she goes, oh, that's just his blood oxygenation. She goes, oh, I see. You come in 3-4 times a day. You take his blood number and you write it down. She goes, yeah. She goes, do you look at what you write? She goes, what do you mean? She said, look at this sheet. This is 3 days ago. 96, 94, 92, 90. I was already at 86 or something. His blood oxygenation. She goes, oh, no, that's not good. And run to get the doctor and did whatever they were doing to save my life. She basically saved my life. The point is, she was there to do something and didn't look or know what is the other things that you need to watch out for that would benefit the person. So you are hoping that your trust is not only in the little thing that you know you're asking for, but that they have a superior knowledge and know other things that are beneficial for you so that you can trust in them that what they do for you is beneficial for you. That's important. That's the 4th thing. 5th, that the one you trust is under the exclusive care, meaning, and he's talking now about complete trust, meaning trust in life. If your life depended on it, what would you need to trust somebody with your life? So we said, 1, that the guy wants to take care of your life. 2, that he's on top of it and watching out for you all the time. 3, that he is strong enough to do it. 4, that he has an eye on other things that will benefit you outside of the limited area that you're thinking about at the moment. Now, 5th is you can trust in somebody when you are under their exclusive care. You know that there's nothing from the outside that can affect you, which you don't have in a normal worldly material interaction. But you can use this analysis for financial. When are you going to trust the banker? When you know that the banker is the only one who can touch your money. You have trust in the institution because you know that you are under their exclusive care, that there's nothing from the outside that can affect you. That engenders the most trust. When all of your matters are under their control, and they have all of the preceding 5 matters, you can feel comfortable because there's nothing from the outside that can affect you. and you look then at the past benefits you already got. Now he's talking about a lifetime again. He's talking about the one you are trusting was with you from the beginning of your existence. The one you are trusting formed you in the womb, walked you as a baby, stopped traffic for you when you were a child, helped you not kill yourself when you were swinging from the monkey bars. Adulthood took care of you when you were first dealing in work. Old age takes care of you in your older years. And the point is that no one else has ever done to him any good except the one he trusts. So this way, every good that you look back on that you ever got came from the one that you are trusting. That reinforces your trust. When you can look back and see all the good that they've already done for you, and therefore can rely on to continue to do in the future. 6, all matters of the truster are entirely in the hands of the one he trusts, and no one else can hurt him. This is the inverse of the one we just said. The one we just said in number 5 is that the one that I am trusting, I have been under his care since my very beginning. So every good that I have received through the other. Here he is saying the inverse. Not only that all the good that I received from the one in whom I trust, but that the one in whom I trust is in charge of everything of my life. Follow? It's just one is that I feel comfortable that I am in the care of that person for everything that's ever happened to me until now. And now we know you feel comfortable with all of those, that they're willing, that they're able, that they're going to be on top of it, that they know all the things that you need that are good. You feel comfortable then when all your matters are in their hands. So it's not just that all the good you got from them, but that all of your stuff is in their hands. When you have somebody like that to work with, you obviously feel more trustful when all your matters are in the care of the one that meets the first 5 criteria. 7, that the one you trust in is absolutely generous and kind, whether you deserve it or not. The one who you're trusting in doesn't just deal out favors when you are deserving, or is not just generous at times, but interrupts. I'm not here Sunday, or I don't do things after 6 o'clock. The generosity and kindness is continuous, never ending, and without interruption. These are the 7 steps of which a person needs to develop and have a feeling of trust in the other before you can trust the other with major, major, major things. If this was a person, obviously we are realizing as we go through this that no person can do this. Whoever combines these traits, in addition to all the previous traits, you've completed everything that you need to do to deserve trust. And therefore, if you know all this, you are really obligated to trust them. Why not? Why would you not trust them in things that you need? You should then be at peace internally and externally, in your heart and in your limbs, and give yourself up to that person. It's hard to say person. Give yourself up to that other and accept his decrees and judge him favorably. Why would you judge him favorably in all his judgments? Because you know that the essence of the other is caring for you and loving you and constantly doing that without interruption, without distraction, and that they have a complete knowledge not only of what you need that you know you need, but even of things that you need that you don't know you need. And a perfect ability and willingness to do it for you. In that ideal world, should you give yourself over to that other? Obviously. And when you investigate these 7 conditions, he says, we will not find them at all in a created being, because there is no created being that can encompass all 7 of these qualities. But you find them all in the Borei Olam. He's compassionate, as it says in the pasuk, Rachum v'chanun Hashem, and even to those, we said, to the willing, and to the deserving and to the undeserving. The second quote is from Yonah, where Yonah says, you want me to go to Nineveh? These were the Assyrians, the enemies of the Jews. And Hashem says to him, I should not take pity on them if they do tshuva? That took care of one, that he takes care of all, deserving or non-deserving. He never neglects us. Hine lo yonum v'lo yishan, shomer Yisrael, as David HaMelech said. He is all wise and invincible, and he quotes from Eov. L'cha Hashem ha'gedula v'ha'gevura v'ha'teferes v'ha'netzach v'ha'hod. We say this every time we see the Torah. You have the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. And as Tzefania said, Hashem Elokecha b'kirbecha. Hashem is in your midst. Gibar Yoshia, the mighty one who will save. Now, what did we say before? We said also somebody that's there from the very beginning. You look back and they've given you all the good that you've gotten until now. He quotes now from Dvarim, when Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people, Halo hu avicha, konecha, hu ascha v'yechonenecha. Is he not your father who has acquired you? He made you and he established you. And then he quotes from Eov again. you've been upheld since birth. Hashem took you out of the womb. And again from Eov, ChovHalev tzicheni, chagbia tikafieni. And he has other quotes that says, Hashem has been with you from the moment you were born, before the moment you were born. But that is something that you should know. Hashem has been with you for every minute until now. And that alone should give you a basis for trust. Your benefit and harm is not in the hands of people, but is really only in the hands of the Borei Olam. And he quotes the pasuk, Lo tziva mipi elyon lo seitze harayos v'hatov. Everything come out of Hashem. All flesh is like grass, and their kindness is like the flower of the field. The grass dries out, the flower wilts, but the word of Hashem stands forever. His generosity is universal, and his kindness is all-embracing, which is summarized in the pasuk that we have from Ashrei, Tov Hashem Lakol, God is good to all, the Racham of Al-Kol Masav, and his mercy is on all his creations. Also, Nosen Lachem Lechol Basar, he gives food to all flesh. Because his kindness endures forever. And then we have the most considered to be the most important pasuk in Ashrei, which you're supposed to stop and think about when you say it. Poseach es yodecha umaspia lechol chayratzon. Hashem opens his hand and satisfies every living thing. So he is saying, Haseichel goes there. Your mind can tell you. He just gave you psukim for all of these things, but he's telling you that your intellect can infer that these 7 conditions exist in the Creator and not in any of the created things. When you clarify this to yourself and you recognize that the true kindness of the Borei, of Hashem, will be strong, you will then place your trust in him. Give yourself up completely to him and leave the guidance of your life to him. You'll never suspect him in his judgments. You won't question him, nor be upset by what he has chosen for him, because you will know, and as David HaMelech has said, Kos Yeshuos Esa, I will raise my cup of salvation. Or, as David HaMelech said, Saravi Yoganemsa, I found trouble and sorrow with Hashem Hashem Ekra, and I call on Hashem. So these are the things, the 7 things that he says a person needs before a person can or should feel comfortable in trusting the other. Then he goes through the 7 things: a desire to help me, an undivided desire to help me, the strength to help me, knowing what I need in areas that I didn't even ask for, knowing that Hashem, knowing that the other has taken care of me from the very beginning, and therefore all the good that I have I have to attribute to the one who's given it to me. And 6 was all my matters are in the hands. Everything I do is under the control of the one that I trust. So therefore, there's no one from the outside that can hurt me, because all of my life, everything that I do is entirely in the hands of the one I trust. And finally, the one I'm trusting is absolutely giving. All they want to do is give me good. There's no limit to the good they can give me. There's nothing else they want to give me. These are the 7 things. And we're going to keep repeating these over and over, because as we do, we think about it. And if we had somebody else, if we had to rely on a doctor, what would we rely on? You know? Think about it. If you're picking a doctor, let's just use some of these 7. These are the 7 key attributes to trust somebody with major things. We're not talking now about help me cross the street, although it applies to that also in a much more limited way. But you can take these 7 characteristics and expand them out to anything. I remember as a kid, we used to have close your eyes and lean back, and trust yourself to fall, that I will catch you, standing behind you. Remember that? Ever do that? Never done that? It's hard. I'm only asking 2 people, you know. You got a 50-50 chance on each one. But if you had a room full of people, everybody played that game. Do this, and trust me, I'll catch you. I remember playing that game. So what's the first thing? 1, you'd have to trust that they're willing to catch you. That's why they told you to fall back. 2, what was number 2? They're going to pay attention. At the moment of falling, they're not going to get distracted with a phone call and let me fall. 3, that they have the strength to catch me when I fall back, that they're going to be able to stop me from falling. 4, what was 4? They have the strength to catch me. I don't mind. That they know how to catch me. They know it's important to catch me. They know what's benefit for me to catch me. That I'm under the exclusive care. That's the guy who's going to catch me. I know there's nobody else standing there. He's going to be the one to catch me. 6, that I'm depending on him to catch me is also part of it. And 7th, to the level needed, that he's generous enough that he's going to catch me. But we apply each of these 7 points to anyone we trust with anything. And obviously, if we're talking about our lives, the only one that we know that Hashem is the only one who is always compassionate, because of wanting to be passionate, always because there's no sleeping, there's no, Hashem didn't forget about you. He has ultimate power to do anything you want. What's 5? He alone is the one who guides a person from the beginning of your existence as he develops. All of your matters are under his hands. Your benefit or harm is not in the hands of people, but rather only in the hands of the Borei Olam. No one's saying these things are easy. Some of these are the most difficult concepts to deal with. And remember again, it's interesting that the Lubavitcher Rebbe doesn't mind teaching this kind of Musar because this is all positive thinking. You're thinking of the good things of Hashem and what Hashem does for you. And as you reflect on it and as you discover it, you become more calm and more trusting and more willing to hand it all over. The problem is we are not all convinced of this. We don't see this. We don't feel. It takes a lot of work to feel. Everything Hashem gives you is for the good. Hashem's generosity is universal, all-embracing for everybody. No same lechem l'chol basa ki liolam chazo. V'seach es yodecha umaspia l'chol chai rotzon. Hashem is not stingy with giving out things. L'chol chai rotzon. He gives every being what they want, what they need. Satisfy them. And he's saying you can figure out just on Seichel, these 7 things exist on the Creator. And when you recognize that and think about it, and you read the Psukim, now again, a lot of this is convincing. You can't see this to believe. If you look for proof of every one of these things from Hashem, you will never get there. But if you spend the time looking at your past, you will see where Hashem has given you every good thing that you have. You may even discover that or realize that the stuff you thought was negative ended up being good in a different way, in a way you didn't think of, in a way that didn't occur to you, in a way that you didn't expect, in a way that you didn't even want. The fact that Hashem does things that you don't want doesn't mean that he is doing wrong. You have to re-examine what you want to make that work. So that is it for today. We went through the 10 benefits quickly of trusting in Hashem rather than in a person, or in science, or in anything in the material world, actually. He says the alchemist who magically transforms lead into gold. But the same thing can apply to science. The same thing can apply to anything in our material world. Recognizing that we live in 2 worlds. One is the material world of which we are aware and are constantly aware and can't escape, and really can't even imagine something other because we don't have the capabilities to understand something other than our experience. We cannot imagine something that is not defined by time or space, because that's the universe we live in. So we have to step outside of what we can know, what we can experience, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can feel. And just imagine, try to imagine the other. except that there is an us outside of our daily experience. And somebody's alarm just went off. That's 11:02. So, are we good?
Yeah, enjoying it.
Yehuda?
Yes.
Yay, I'm picking you up in a half hour.
Yes.
I take him to his therapist every Monday. Take care, Evra. Have a good day. Be well.
Okay.
How do I close this thing? There we go. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do,